People tend to remember those typical preppers with guns surviving in the woods, but I am not one of those crazy preppers. I'm just an ordinary man wanting to make sure that my family can live a good life.
Meow! It's Martin! Regular viewers of my channel will have seen Martin before, and he appears to be a nice bloke. I've recently subscribed to him. He's just doing some videos in English. Get the link in the description and get more Martin.
Martin Svenberg is heading to one of his food stashes in the basement of a Stockholm apartment block that doubles as a bomb shelter.
I have to say, because I've watched a different video on Martin, this is not his bomb shelter. Sweden has lots and lots of municipal big bomb shelters, and it made most apartments and homes build bomb shelters for decades now. This is actually his apartment's bomb shelter.
What are you preparing for?
Well, I don't know. Everything. A crisis can be several different things. It can be war, it can be a pandemic, obviously, but it can also be being out of a job. Or it can be I also prepare for inflation.
That's smart. Cover the basics. Stay away from single-focus prepping as far as you can.
So this is just a buffer. So if something happens, I actually have time to adjust my way of life or adjust something and then consume the buffer.
However much food you store, it will eventually run out and go bad. You do need the ability to grow and hunt and fish food after SHTF if it's going to be a long duration SHTF event. If it's a really bad ice storm, you probably don't need to have so much food anyway, do you? But you never know.
Here we have sugar and salt. All these boxes are filled with baking supplies, dry powdered milk, flour as well.
To my semi-trained eye, I think Martin's got at least a year or more of the basics, the salt, the sugar covered with rationing, and we'd all have to really ration. I think it's smart to play to your own strengths. He can let others fish and hunt around him once things have settled down, and he can trade fish and venison for things like salt and sugar, things that after 3 months to 6 months people will really want. I'd recommend caffeine tea bags as well, and powdered instant coffee. All of this stuff is going to be eminently tradable. You don't want to put yourself out there and barter, but you'll know your local people, and your local people, if they are hunters, can hunt really well. A lot better than I can, so why am I out there hunting and risk getting shot? They can go out there, they can hunt, and I can trade.
Are you being hysterical?
No, I'm not hysterical. But it has become a way of life for me to be prepared in different ways. But I don't have any guns.
Most of the world, the dividing line between a smart prepper and an insane prepper is a gun.
Earlier this summer, Svenberg spent 24 hours confined to his apartment without electricity. It was an attempt to teach his 16-year-old son Maximilian how to survive without the conveniences of modern life.
That's a great scenario prep. Everybody should turn off their mains breaker, stay in place for 24 hours, have no running water, and not be able to use the actual flushable toilets. See what happens, see how you feel about it. Might be interesting. What I would say, if you're going to do that type of a scenario, also practice light discipline and noise discipline. You really don't want to be having noise, and you don't really want to be having lights on at night in that type of a scenario. It advertises somebody's there and they might have something. So you want to practice security aspects as well, and that's going to make it a whole lot tougher. And you need to make sure somebody's fully conscious at all times and awake throughout the 24-hour day cycle, and possibly 2 people to do that if you have enough numbers.
It was fun, but yeah, it became boring after a while. It was kind of difficult for me because I'm kind of addicted to my phone, and without electricity and like charging, it was pretty difficult to sit and do nothing because I'm not used to that.
I really love his honesty. I also really like the title Trainee Prepper. In actuality, we're all trainee preppers until we actually live through a major global SHTF, and hopefully we'll never will.
Flour. A lot of flour.
Man can live on bread alone.
Something to make the water taste good.
Yeah, water tastes fine. Loading up on tartrazine and colourings and sugar isn't a great idea. Just drink the water. Have some tea bags, have some coffee. Well, that's it for me on a sunny day. Thanks for watching. That should be the last of Swedish Prepping, hopefully forever. Wolfie thanks you for watching. He's doing well with his paw, and hopefully he will soon be recovered and be able to walk around. But right now he wants to be carried downstairs and he wants to have a biscuit. Right, Wolfie? 1, 2, 3. This has been brought to you by a Wolfie Terrier getting over his surgery on his toe production 2022. Toodles! I would recommend tea bags, and I'd recommend caffeine. I'd recommend caffeine. I'd recommend caffeine. Water tastes